Here are some very, very close-up macro shots of the Apple Watch Ultra 3 after having swam, biked, and run with this watch for a little over 100 days. And this is the black diamond light coated, or DLC, edition of the Ultra 3. And if you just want my quick 2-second opinion on this watch, I would say it's holding up extremely well at this point. Just glancing at it, I actually can't see any scratches or nicks or discoloration on the device itself. And because it has this black diamond light coating, if you do whack this watch or scrape it on the concrete or beat it up in some way, it is possible that these blemishes might be more visible. Under the coating is the same metallic silvery looking titanium that you have on the standard device. And because of that, scratches might be less visible on the bare titanium edition versus this diamond light coated edition. Here's a 3-year-old titanium Apple Watch Ultra 1. And then here's the diamond light coated Apple Watch Ultra 2 after a little over a year of wear and tear. And then compare that to the Apple Watch Ultra 3 that I said is now 100 days old. And the software has actually been quite stable for me as well. Not that everything has been smooth sailing, but I will go into some of those details as well as a ton more, including GPS accuracy, heart rate tracking details, and even comparing this watch to some of the other really competitive options from other brands, or even other Apple Watch options. So, without further ado, here we go. After 100 days, the Apple Watch Ultra 3. Okay, diving into this, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is indistinguishable from the Apple Watch Ultra 2. I'll put the 2 and the 3 right next to each other. Actually, if I take off the watch bands, there's a very good chance that I'd potentially mix them up and never figure out which one is which again. There was some confusion when the watch came out that it might be slimmer than the Apple Watch Ultra 2, but it's absolutely not. It is the exact same watch body case size. Apple actually changed the way that they are measuring the watch, which is why it might look different to you if you are comparing the spec sheets. Basically, they were measuring the optical heart rate sensor in the Ultra 2, and they decided not to measure that optical heart rate sensor bump in the Ultra 3. There are some new features on the Ultra 3 compared to the Ultra 2. And potentially for you eagle-eyed viewers, the new display on the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is actually slightly different. Apple calls this their wide-angle OLED display. Again, probably not something that you're gonna notice. Maybe the best way for you guys to see the difference is if I show some sort of app that takes up the entire screen, basically bleeds edge to edge between these two devices. And even then it's still really hard to notice. But the Ultra 3 has a slightly higher resolution. It's 422 by 514 pixels versus 410 by 502 pixels on the Ultra 2. And here's me trying to show an overlay of these two screens so that you can kind of see that there is this super subtle difference between the two screen sizes. This screen is also a bit more power efficient, which is one of the main things I think that's contributing to the slightly additional battery life of the Apple Watch Ultra 3 versus the Ultra 2. The Ultra 3 also has 5G connectivity. Now I'm pretty sure that this is 5G RedCap, which again, isn't quite as fast as the standard 5G chipset, but it's also a good bit more power efficient. I also had trouble with AT&T getting my 5G set up, and it turns out that I wasn't alone. There were at least some issues, and I think it was on the AT&T side of things that were causing errors with the setup for anyone trying to get 5G and LTE set up for the first few weeks of having the Apple Watch Ultra 3. But back to battery life. So we went from 36 hours to 42 hours. And I think the truth really is, I don't think that you're gonna notice a big difference in battery life. Just for me personally in my day-to-day wear with this watch, it still feels like you're kind of charging it up every 2.5 days or so. And there has been a ton of people that are pointing out this ever so slightly different change to their testing protocol. The way I read this, I don't actually really think that the testing of this would make a huge difference to battery life. In here, they're just saying that they're now including sleep tracking when they are calculating battery life. Now the Apple Watch Ultra 3 will also charge a little faster. It'll go from 0 to 80% in about 45 minutes. And then the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is also now powered by the S10 System in Package processor chip. The Ultra 2 uses the older S9 System in Package processor. And while the CPU speed may not be significantly different between these two devices, the S10 System in Package processor, the way that they've designed this chip, it's actually allowed more internal space for a slightly different antenna design. And what's interesting is that new antenna design allows for something really cool here. This is the first Apple Watch to be able to send and receive messages, share their location via the Find My network, and contact emergency services, even when cellular or Wi-Fi is unavailable. It can do all of this over satellite connection. Now, it's been 100 days, and I've really yet to use this feature. Yes, that might say more about my actual outdoor adventureness, but or maybe it just means that I live in a suburban area and I don't venture out enough. I don't know, it's hard to say. But along with announcing the Apple Watch Ultra 3, Apple also introduced a few cool new features. Apple introduced a general sleep score, and I actually like it. It's basically combining your sleep duration, your bedtime consistency, and interruptions into a simple, easy to understand nightly score out of 100. There's also a new high blood pressure warning or chronic hypertension detection. Here's the kicker. I actually have high blood pressure. Maybe it's not super bad, but it ain't good. I've yet to ever get a notification of any kind. Now, if you dig into Apple's research paper here, you'll notice that the Apple Watch will only notify about 41.2% of the people who actually have hypertension. Now, if you have severe hypertension, things get slightly better for the Apple Watch. It'll notify you about 53.7% of the time, according to this particular study provided by Apple. But Apple is also being super careful not to send out a ton of false positives here. So maybe they're on the right side of things. Among the people with normal blood pressure, the Apple Watch correctly classified them 95.3% of the time. So I think props to Apple for making all of this data and their study and the summary here available to all of us to compare the numbers. Now, good news for you guys. If you do have an older Apple Watch, the Apple Watch Series 9 and later, or the Apple Watch Ultra 2, you'll get this blood pressure feature. In the sleep score actually comes to the Apple Watch Series 6 and above, which I really do appreciate. I just say, nice work on that, Apple. Now, as far as swimming goes, I've swam open water swimming with this device. I've done a ton of lap swimming with the Apple Watch Ultra 3. My experience has been quite good, but swim tracking in general is extremely tricky, especially open water swimming tracking for any GPS watch. So I just think that it's very important for all of us to at least have some sort of realistic expectations going into this, especially for lap swimming. If you do a standard freestyle swim, the watch is going to be checking to feel when you're changing directions. It's using its accelerometer, not GPS, to detect that. in the distance per stroke that you do in the water, but just don't expect for the lap swimming to be perfect. I would say that if you're swimming different reps and different sets and different strokes, or doing drills while lap swimming, I'm guessing that your total distance is not going to be exact. There's also no manual way to adjust the times or distances while lap swimming, which is one of the ways that some of the other brands get around having some of these little tiny issues. And similarly, in open water swimming, I found the results to be excellent. Open water swimming is a GPS accuracy issue. The trick here is that the GPS watch has to quickly connect and establish your position as your arm comes up and out of the water before it goes back deep into the water, and the GPS radio signals can't penetrate super deeply into the water. So if you're doing breaststroke with your hands underwater the whole time, and you're wondering why your GPS watch, and again, this is regardless of brand, why it's not tracking well, it's because the L-band 1 to 2 gigahertz GPS radio waves don't penetrate through water very deeply. So it's less of a technical problem, and it's more of that's just not how physics works kind of problem. I actually think that the best way to compare GPS tracks for open water swimming is to wear one watch on one wrist, another watch on the other wrist, and then have a reference model that sits up above water or on a swim buoy that never dips underwater. So in this case, we have 3 watches, and the Garmin Forerunner 255 is our reference device, the Apple Watch Series 11 on my right wrist, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 on my left wrist, and everything seems to be tracking pretty well. You can actually tell that, one is on the right and one is on the left. I do my little down to the far side of the lake and then back and around again. And, I think that this watch does a pretty good job at tracking open water swimming. Now, biking with the Apple Watch Ultra 3 has also been fine. Apple's been working on cycling within their Apple Watch ecosystem. For example, you can be wearing your Apple Watch while it's tracking your ride, and your Apple Watch can actually relay that information over to your iPhone so that you can use that device kind of like it's kind of like a cycling computer. If you want to, you can mount it to the handlebars of your bike. I do still think that you're probably better off with a Garmin device, perhaps, if you're primarily using your watch for tracking cycling. On the Apple Watch side of things, you might find that you can't prioritize a speed cadence sensor that you use from your bike over the GPS when you're biking outdoors, or you can't collect both power and cadence from a pedal-based power meter, or maybe even that some of the data that's collected doesn't fully export to places like Strava. Now, personally, I actually use the Ultra 3 as more of a backup when I have a dedicated cycling computer, which tends to handle all of those little details a little bit better than the Apple Watch. All of that being said, I do love the Apple Watch Ultra for running. I've found that the GPS is extremely accurate. Here, check out this run. This is an early morning 4-mile run, just back and forth on a trail along the lake. You can actually see that things look pretty good when compared to a couple other watches here. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 uses dual band GPS, where it can connect to multiple satellite systems and also multiple frequencies on those satellite systems. So the L1 and the L5 frequencies, which does make it a little bit more accurate, especially in difficult situations. Now, looking at a little heart rate data here, here's a 6-mile run comparing an ECG style chest strap here, which is pretty accurate. I definitely would consider this basically our control within our little experiment here. And that's in green, and comparing that to the Apple Watch Ultra 3, which follows along extremely well here in orange. Here's another run. This time a little shorter run, but again, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 tracks our heart rate strap really closely. Now, real quickly, I did want to show you guys what this watch looks like next to a few other competitive options on the marketplace. And I mentioned Garmin earlier. Here is the Garmin Fenix 8. and the Garmin Fenix 8 Pro. These are basically Garmin's top of the line watches. Like the Apple Watch Ultra 3, the Fenix 8 Pro has the ability to communicate over satellite. Again, it's not something that I tend to use, but it is good to know that it's an option for Garmin as well as Apple. Price on these watches are $1,100 for the Fenix 8 for this particular variation of this device, and $1,200 for the Fenix 8 Pro. Garmin does make a micro LED edition. I don't know, I'm not exactly sure which person is gonna need that, but it costs $2,000. I kind of get the impression that there's not a ton of reasons for people to get this slightly brighter micro LED version. Now, and this is just a size comparison. Here's what the Apple Watch Ultra 3 looks like next to the Apple Watch Series 11 and then the Apple Watch SE 3. And these are the bigger editions of each of these devices. So the 46 millimeter of the Series 11 and the 44 millimeter edition of the SE 3. Good news, the price hasn't actually gone up on any of the Apple Watches over the past few years. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 is $800, the Series 11 is $400 or $429 for this bigger edition, and the Apple Watch SE 3 is $250 or $279 for this slightly larger edition. Again, good job, Apple. So, after 100 days, would I recommend the Apple Watch Ultra 3? Yeah, absolutely I would. Or I guess I should say yes, if you're okay with the size of this watch, and you're okay with the price, and you're okay with the whole Apple ecosystem. Apple Watch only works with the iPhone. And then, as I mentioned before, if you are a hardcore cyclist, there might be better options specifically tailored to all of the potential third-party sensors and connected equipment that comes along with that sport. But other than that, absolutely, I think that the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is a fantastic device. Do I wish there were, a more dramatic update from the Apple Watch Ultra 2? Sure, absolutely. And depending on what kind of deals or sales you can find, some of you guys might love saving a few bucks and getting the very similar and also very capable Apple Watch Ultra 2. But overall, I've been extremely happy with this Apple Watch Ultra 3. But that's just my opinion, and I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this device? Do any of you guys have the Apple Watch Ultra 3? What have you thought about it so far? Have any of you guys had any issues with this device? Let me know in the comment section. Comment section is right below this video and is right below the like button and the subscribe button down below here somewhere. And either way, fancy new Apple Watch or no watch at all, I really do hope that you guys are getting out there, getting after it, and we will see you guys on the next one.